On July 10th, 2016, Éder made a powerful shot into goal. In normal conditions, Lille would have saved it, every Portuguese fan would mock him as usual, and France would fulfill their destiny of winning another international trophy in home soil. Portuguese media would crucify both Éder and Fernando Santos and ask for them to never ever represent the country's colors again. But you know what happened. That shot caught Lille off guard, and after a few minutes of suffering, Portugal was finally vindicated. After years of unbelievable disappointment, after having a golden generation that couldn't beat Greece in Lisbon, after having the best player in the world failing time and time again to win something for Portugal, a seleção was finally vindicated by none other than an immigrant player who the vast majority didn't even want to see included in the squad. Éder rose to cult hero status in Portugal, and for a while he became the most adored figure in the country. But what if I told you that after that goal, his life actually got worse than before? In this video, I'll tell you all you need to know about the inspirational rise of Éder, but also how his story doesn't really have a happy ending. For starters, he was never a promising youngster that every Portuguese giant wanted to acquire. In fact, he didn't have a loving home to go to. You see, Éder was born in Guinea-Bissau and immigrated to Portugal as just a little kid. But his family was so poor that he was put into a boarding school because they didn't have the money to provide for him. Forget about Sporting's academy, forget about Benfica's academy. Éder was just another kid playing football in the outskirts of Coimbra with Ademia. And to make it worse, his family situation would only get worse as the years passed. When Éder was just 12 years old, his father got sentenced to life in prison for killing his wife at the time, Éder's stepmother. All of this trauma in most cases would create a resentful individual with no passion other than to hurt others like they hurt him. But Éder's not that guy. He found strength in other kids going through similar messed up situations, kept his head down and continued to play. Even with no praise, he continued to evolve. Éder didn't know his future. He didn't know if his efforts would ever be compensated, but he kept moving forward. Until in his third pro season, while playing for the modest Torresins, Éder's 10 goals caught the attention of Académica. And just like that, Éder was playing in Portugal's first tier. Now, I know the stereotype in stories like this. He performs ridiculously well, one of the three giants signs him, he impresses there, and moves on for bigger and greater things. The problem was, none of that happened. He did win the Portuguese Cup in his fourth season with Académica, but you can't really say it happened because of him. It was just alright. But his 7 goals in 22 matches that season were enough for Braga to scoop him on a free transfer. And ladies and gentlemen, that was where we got to witness the best of Éder. Not a lucky shot, but a consistently good physical game and above average offensive awareness. Across 3 seasons, Éder scored 34 goals, which earned him several call-ups to the national team. Back in 2013, Ronaldo didn't play as a striker and Portugal simply didn't have any other decent option for the number 9 position, so Éder would continue to get called up, even though when push came to shove, he never delivered. To paint a better picture in your head, Éder debuted in November 2012, but only scored his first goal in a friendly match against Italy almost 3 years later. 3 years getting regular game time without converting to a single goal. The Portuguese fans had seen enough. Every time he was called up, he was always victim of mean jokes and wishes that other players got the chance instead of him. Plus, his failed move to the Premier League only added more fire to the flame. In 2015, he moved to Swansea, but after just 6 months without a single goal, he got dispatched to Lille. His performances improved in France, and his 10 goal contributions from January to May earned him a call-up to Euro 2016. But then again, the Portuguese people weren't impressed. André Silva was emerging with FC Porto, Hugo Vieira was scoring goals like crazy in Serbia, and Bruno Moreira carried Passos de Ferreira to the top half of the table with 18 goals in just half a season. Put yourself in the Portuguese fans' shoes. Wouldn't you prefer one of these 3 strikers ahead of Éder, who had already proved time and time again that he wasn't good enough? Either way, it didn't matter. Fernando Santos was the boss, and Éder would be our number 9 if Ronaldo ever got injured. Now from this point on, you already know the story. He got his big chance in the final, scored that wonderful goal, and Portugal celebrated him as their biggest hero for the entirety of the summer. And then what? Well, Lille signed him permanently and guaranteed him a job. It wasn't a return to the Premier League, but at least he would continue playing for a decent European club. Or so we thought. During the 16-17 season, Éder got viciously bullied in France, sometimes even by his own club supporters, who couldn't forgive the striker for robbing them their rightful Euro championship. That constant hate got to his head, and instead of fully transforming into a football superstar, Éder's goal-scoring tally plummeted. In the previous campaign, he had scored 6 goals in 14 matches for Lille. Now, with a full season to impose himself, Éder only netted 7 goals in 37 matches. No matter how much the Portuguese fans now loved him for scoring the goal that won them their only international trophy, nobody wanted to see him in the squad anymore. André Silva, Diogo Jota and later Diego Souza were all performing better, so calling up Éder was just an act of goodwill, which simply can't exist in football if you ever want to be the best. He even tried his luck in Russia, away from all the hate, but his numbers wouldn't go up. Across 4 seasons with Lokomotiv, Éder averaged just 3.75 goals per campaign. And just to prove how unlucky this man really is, he finished his career in Saudi Arabia in 2022, 6 months before they started paying fortunes to their athletes. After hearing all of this, it would be hard to see his goal in the final as something more than just a fluke. A lucky shot that in millions of other universes would have just been saved. Ultimately, it's really hard to see Éder as anything more than just a mediocre football player. However, there's something that I haven't told you yet. Éder was mentally coached before Euro 2016 by a woman called Susana Torres. Supposedly, she got him on the right mindset and gave him the confidence to be the elite striker that he always wanted to be. He even thanked her in the flash interview after the final and gave away his image rights for free so she could grow her coaching business. But in the end, instead of feeling grateful, Susana took advantage of him, distorted his story and made several claims that painted Éder as a fool. She alleged that he had the goal of playing for Barca, that he cried on the phone with her, and that he was calling clubs all across Europe that were in risk of getting relegated just so he could get a job. And for 7 years, Éder didn't even say a word. He still felt gratitude towards her and didn't want to destroy her business, so her manipulative marketing tactics continued until one day Éder completely destroyed her brand. After all, he hadn't been working with her for a long time. They actually cut ties just 4 months after the final because Éder wanted to concentrate on his career, while Susana wanted him to miss training sessions so he could give interviews alongside her. She used them, abused his goodwill, but thankfully the truth eventually came out. Ultimately, I can't say his career had a good ending. Many of you watching hadn't thought about Éder in a long time, and he never had a chance to prove himself as a capable striker in the biggest stages. Nobody gave him a farewell match, a last international cap, or even a last run in a club in Portugal. His dad wasn't proven innocent, and the happy childhood that he never got to live was never given back to him. But hopefully, he found peace, love and kindness among those he chose to create a family with. And to wrap it all up, obrigado, Éder, por nos teres dado a maior alegria da nossa vida como adeptos portugueses. Desculpa por todas as piadas, por termos mandado abaixo. Nós não podemos mudar o passado, mas nos nossos olhos serás sempre uma lenda. And that is it for the video. Don't forget to leave a like so I know you want to watch more content like this, and subscribe to never miss the most interesting football discussions, stories and top 10 lists. Thank you for watching till the end, I appreciate you and I will see you soon.